Hey, what's going on, all you savages? You're listening to the uncut, unkept, gnarly as fuck podcast in the world, shooting the breeze with the big guy. And welcome back to episode 8 of Shooting the Breeze with the Big Guy here, your host, Big Nolski. Episode 8 right now, I can't believe it. Big Nol Drip is the title of it. There's a lot of stuff going on in the NBA, especially with my Rockets, and with in sports in general. I guess this is more of a sports podcast, I guess you could say. But there's also a lot of stuff, with my Vikings and social and entertainment itself as well, and just in general, there's a lot of stuff. There's always a lot of stuff going around, especially now as of late. But this title of the podcast, Big No Drip. We'll talk about a short little story. Probably, I feel like it would take about 5 to 10 minutes, but probably will take less. So whatever. But so I'm a big proponent of making myself, look well presented. That's how I was brought up and stuff. And I decided to get a new pair of sunglasses. Like I said, I believe I said in the last episode, they look like the ones that Zach Galifianakis, his character, was wearing in The Hangover. Those big ones, which my sister, I said, thought I looked like a police officer, which I thought looked like a fucking badass and a savage. So I've been wearing the last few days, and I love them. Everything looks orange though, or like a darker color like that. I bought flowers and for a friend's parent, and they're actually pink, but they looked orange. I bought them anyways. But for $5, pretty cool though, near my house. But no, so I like make myself look good. So I got a chain and a necklace and then a watch and a bracelet because that's how you do it, along with the sunglasses to match. And I got all of them. Sunglasses fit perfectly fine. The bracelet fit fine. But the watch, when I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but the watch was a woman's watch. When it came, the chain was too thick, so I returned those two. I'm going to get my refund back via a gift card on my account, and then I returned the bracelet because it was a son of a bitch to get off. So I unfortunately had to rip it apart, or tear it apart, I guess you could say, or break it in half, whatever the correct terminology of that. Because it was just such a little shit trying to undo it, because you would put it on and then you would clip it on, and it was so hard. And my nail kept not chipping, but like when your skin looks like your nail, it's not fully grown, or it is grown, it looks like it's white and it's like bending over or whatnot. So excuse us, I kept tearing and trying to rip it off, and I finally got it, so I have to return that, and I'll just, say on Amazon, because that's where I got it. And a lot of the stuff that I got, all the drip, it surprisingly, a lot of it I try to get below like $20 just because, I don't want to be cheap and get something that's super, like, not inexpensive and not like the best quality, but I also want to get good stuff. So Amazon, they say 14 karat gold, 16, 18, so you don't know which is which, if it's real or not, but supposedly, or not supposedly I should say, but realistically at $15 for a bracelet or whatever, I don't know if it's best quality or real gold, but whatever, I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck, it's my life. I'm a Ric Flair drip of the modern generation, motherfuckers. But, like I was saying, so I'm gonna return that and just saying, oh, it was broken or whatnot when I got it. But no, there's one that I have in my cart that it just like it's hard to explain. It's like when you put keys on a keychain, I guess you could say, or something like that, where it's you press the thing down, it opens, or there's space in between so you can latch onto something. So I'll get that one, a nice watch, men's gold watch. It's got a blue interior where the numbers are and stuff, or black, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, black. So that'll be really cool. That takes a few days. So hopefully, I'll definitely have it before my summer camp starts. So yeah, I'll probably actually, yeah, no, I'll have, yeah, because it's not for another 2 weeks, or a week and a half, I should say. So it's just it'll be interesting. So no, I like drip and I like all that stuff. Or some could say ice, whatever. But no, it's just I like making myself look good, make my seem look like more of a fucking savage than I really am. That's my unfortunate story about drip. I was really upset because I liked it. I mean, I wasn't expecting how it looked. It more looked like it belonged like an Egyptian pharaoh in the Smithsonian, because it was so weird, whatever. But no, it was a nice piece, but unfortunately I have to give it back, so I'll put it in the nice little small box it came back into and return it to UPS. That's another thing, the UPS or the postal service, whatever, USPS or the UPS, whatever one you prefer. If you print out, it's much cheaper. If you save the box or packet thing it came in, and you just print out a new label and then you return it and bring it to the store. It doesn't have to cost any for postage or anything like that. They do that for you, so it's pretty. I mean, convenient wise, not really, but whatever. Because I don't trust just in the mail sitting in there, so I would recommend to everyone just to if you have to return something, print out the new sticker thing and put it on there, and the directions and whatnot, whatever it may be on there, whatever it's called, and then just bring it to the UPS or USPS store, and it takes about 5-6 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, but whatever, depending on how many people are there and how fast they are. But no, with that being said, let's shift though to the NBA. That's a really important thing and main thing I want to talk about on this podcast, because there's a lot of fucking shit to talk about, especially with free agency going on, the draft coming tomorrow actually. So I'm not. I would do something about the draft tomorrow, but I don't want to, just because I don't really see. I think with college basketball, it's entertaining. I think now as the players are getting very much better, and then would rather them just end up in the NBA 12 months later, or a year later, I basically should just say. But I don't really, I'm not like someone who really pays attention to sports. Like, there's a lot of guys that I worked with at my school newspaper at URI, the 5 Cent Cigar, and at the radio station there, that really that know a lot about sports in general, a lot of different areas. And I'm more of the casual fan, so I don't know what I'll do. But I don't know a whole lot about college sports, so I don't really focus on that or like to talk about it. I mean, I know Zion Williams, R.J. Barrett, Ja Morant. Like, I know those guys. And sorry if I pronounced Morant's first name wrong, but I don't know a whole lot about the college sports environment, so I can't really say anything besides my own when I watch them. So whatever though. But so I won't do anything tomorrow, and I think that every other day, like one day and then don't do the next day. So every other day, I guess you could say, oh, I couldn't get my words out like always. I think that's a better shift though. I want to take a few seconds. In August, I wanted to plug this quick. The 9th to the 16th, I'm going on a cruise again to Bermuda, actually, again, with everyone on my dad's side besides my grandmother, because she didn't want to, and she wanted to go on a New England River cruise, because that is way better than a fucking cruise to Bermuda for a week. Oh, you go to Bangor, Maine, or whatever it was, Portland, Maine, Boston, Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard. Oh, wow, that's so much more interesting. It's not like she hasn't been those places with all the sports that my aunt and father did when they were younger. Like, why would you do that? It's not like a fucking Viking River cruise with like 100 people. Like, you don't sleep there. Like, it's so boring. Like, why would you want to do that? Like, plus she's going all alone. She's in her early mid. She's 84, 83. So she's 84. So she's getting up there in age. So it's not like she's. I mean, granted, she knows what's going on. She's there mentally and physically. It's just she's getting older and a little slower, so it's harder for her. So with that being said, I'm gonna record like videos and stuff, and maybe I'll post them and make a video about it. But I won't really say anything about it, just because I don't have really time. I may be on the boat, I will, but I won't have my computer. So here's what I'll do. I might potentially like record pictures and take pictures and videos and put them all together on iMovie, and then just record myself talking with them and post them when I get back, just because that makes more sense, because I won't have Wi-Fi and my family won't pay for it. I mean, maybe I'll pay for it, but whatever, we'll see. With that being said, though, yeah, I just wanted to say that. So I probably the channel and podcast will probably go off for then until I get back the 17th or later the 16th. But no, back to what I was saying though. A lot of stuff's been going on with free agency and the NBA. And as of 3:22 today, which is Wednesday, the Bucks forward Chris Middleton, a phenomenal player in the last year or so. He declined his $13 million player option. To become a free agent, obviously unrestricted. It said. And they're saying that both sides, the Bucks and Chris Middleton, obviously, are trying to make a new long-term deal, which is good. Because I thought when I read it, I was like, shit, he's gonna leave. Why would you want to leave this team for another one? They were so successful. It was unfortunate how they didn't make the NBA Finals, because everyone was like, oh yeah, this team's gonna make the NBA Finals. They're gonna be Golden State and all this stuff. And they were saying about so many other teams, which obviously didn't happen besides Toronto being them. But I'm happy to see he's returning. That'll be good for that team. And then as of 12:44, and this was not really surprising, but kind of. It was sort of 50-50, because I knew it was going to happen eventually, and everyone was talking about it. But the Minnesota Grizzlies, it's the end of an era, end of the Gasol Conley era, and the Grizzlies officially have traded as of 12:44 in the afternoon today Mike Conley to the Jazz for Grayson Allen, which I fucking hate. I hate him just as much as Draymond Green and LeVar Ball and pretty much every other person like that. They trade for Grayson Allen, Kyle Korver, which I love Kyle Korver. He's great. It's just unfortunate he's been moved so many fucking times. He's like a I don't know, egg on a farm. I don't know, or a slut out there. I don't know. But no, Kyle Korver. I just feel bad for Kyle Korver because he's been moved so many times. But no, yeah. So Mike Conley traded for Grayson Allen, Kyle Korver, and Jay Crowder, who's a good player as well. And also the 23rd pick in tomorrow's draft, being tomorrow Thursday, in the first round, and also a protected 2020 first round pick was traded from when we're saying Utah to Memphis, I should say. Sorry, I couldn't get my words out again. And there's all sorts of scenarios and implications with it, depending on how teams do and stuff, and who's this record. I hate that. Just give them the pick, okay? And however your team does, it's where they like. I hate that. Oh, top 10 protected pick, top 10 unprotected, top 15. Shut the fuck up and just give them the pick. And why do you have to have all these different shitty implements, whatever the word is, for the stuff? I just hate that. It's so annoying. Like, or two-way players, or this or that, or cash considerations, or they have to make room for cap, or if they trade for this person, they'll be over, and they have to pay all this. Just stop. This shit pisses me off sometimes. It's just so fucking stupid. Like, stop. Just trade for the person. They still owe money to pay for the person. Just do that. Like, fuck that. But no, so it's unfortunate because he was probably the last remaining person. And also, I wanted to say yesterday, Jonas Valanciunas, he declined his $17.6 million player option, as like many other players from the Grizzlies, to become a free agent. And I guess he wanted a more long-term deal. Playing for Memphis right now, I wouldn't do that. But and obviously Memphis didn't want to go in that direction, so that's what happened, which is unfortunate because Jonas Valanciunas, who was traded along with why am I forgetting, for Marcus All earlier this season, or halfway through the season, I should say, as Doris Burke said. And he's a decent player. He's a pretty good. He did pretty well in Toronto, I think. But no, it's just unfortunate to see Mike Conley go because he was so good, but he just had so much money that for his contract, and he's getting older, and he's not as. I mean, he's still phenomenal, handles and shooting and stuff. He's still pretty good, but they just signed so many players like Chris Paul, a guy who is decent, a pretty good player, but he's just not worth the contract he has. I don't get it. It's like Al Horford. Actually, Al Horford, leaving the Celtics, a team that he could have helped a lot next season because probably losing Kyrie and probably a bunch of other players. It's just, and because Al Horford, he's getting older than Mike Conley, and Al Horford's asking for a 3 or 4 year, $100 million contract. Are you fucking shitting me? Let's get one thing straight. Al Horford's good, but he's not phenomenal. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, are you kidding me? Like, he's not worth it. Me and my friend Rob at work today, we're organizing stuff for the camp this summer. Like I said before, Discovery Camp, ages 6 to 13. You get a son, daughter, niece, nephew, grandchild. Any of you listen who knows people that age, recommend it to the camp. It's fun. South Kingston, Rhode Island. If you're in the Massachusetts, Rhode Island area, or Connecticut, I should say as well. And you have a summer place in Rhode Island or whatnot. But I don't get it. $100 million, 3 or 4 year, $100 million contract for Al Horford, guy who's getting closer and closer to 40 years old, who's not producing phenomenal statistics anymore. I don't get that. And he declined his $30.1 million player option for this year, for this coming up season. Are you shitting me? That's still a lot. This is what you should have just done. Just stay in one more year. Just do this year. At the end of the year, leave if you want it. But I don't get this shit. Like, you're not $25 million a year, $30 million a year player, or 33, whatever it is. You're not that much money. Stay for this last year, make heavy bread this last year, and leave after. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't get that. Or it's like this. The Lakers, yesterday as well, I think it was, yesterday, it was saying that, the Lakers, and there's a lot that went yesterday, and I'm kind of happy that, I didn't do an episode yesterday because I would have had a lot of stuff to talk about today, but I don't get this because, the Lakers, as of 11:35 last night, they were quote unquote scrambling to create space for or make space for max deal. They don't need another fucking max deal. They have LeBron James, top 5, top 3 player of all fucking time. Let's get that straight. Of all time, LeBron, one of the greatest. And I'm looking when I'm recording this, and the bars are going really, really high. And, oh, well, who gives a fuck? I need to speak louder, though. But what do you need to create a max deal? Sign someone like Derrick Rose, someone like that who doesn't need a max deal, but still is a very good player. Yeah, especially Derrick Rose, who's come over adversity and played very well last year for Minnesota. Granted, the team was shitty as fuck, but whatever. I don't get why all these teams need to create all the space for max deals. Build your team. Invest in your players that you have. You signed them for multi-year deals for a reason. Like, you drafted some of these guys for a reason. I don't get it. But it's just all about the money. And Rob Pelinka and the Bust family, they should not worry about that. Sign guys who can still produce. Because look at Rondo and JaVale McGee and Lance Stevenson and all these guys get signed for these deals, whether they're crazy stupid or worth it, but they can still somewhat produce. I mean, Rondo can still produce. He's not throwing up mind-boggling numbers, or same for Lance Stevenson. He's not doing the same, or JaVale McGee. They can still produce some, and I think that's what teams need to do. You don't need to sign all these massive players. I mean, sure, if you have one or two great players, you can do very well, but build your team around a good player or two good players with guys who don't need oogles and oogles of money, but still can do very well. And I know it's like repeating myself, but it's just I don't get why people need to do this. Sign 3 or 4 max deals. It's just that doesn't work. You look at Houston. That's another thing I'm going to talk later down the road. I mean, I can get over it now or talk about it now, but like, you look at that. Him and James Harden, max deals. James Harden's the only one on that team besides Clint Capella, I would say, that deserves over $25 million a year. Chris Paul does not deserve, over 30, I think it was, but I think it was below 35. He doesn't deserve $30 to $35 million a year. He's not that great anymore. Let's get that straight. He's a good player, good guy to get assists and rebounds and stuff, but just doesn't score enough. Like, I'm more worried about scoring and rebounds and assists. Granted, assists help you score more, but he's not worth it. And you see the tension that's between him and James Harden, even though Daryl Morey and Tillman Fertitta and everyone else are saying, "Oh, there's no tension and this and that," and they're saying how tough it is to trade Chris Paul, and how the Rockets wanted to dump him off the Knicks. Which for the Knicks wouldn't have been too bad because Chris Paul couldn't have gotten that shitty franchise right as of now in their shape. Let me tell you, if you sign more than 2 players to a max deal who can't function together, it's just going to blow the team up. I mean, I think that's what was going on with the Lakers when they had Kobe and they had Steve Nash and not Steve Nash, but I think that, because Steve Nash was near the end, Kobe was not near the end. They were still decent in the early 2010s before they started to do shitty. I think it was like 2013, and I think Dwight Howard still had the mentality that he was at the top of the world and one of the top players, or that could lead a franchise like he did in Orland. It's not a real place, Orland. Why am I forgetting the name? Orlando. And they did well there. They made the finals in 2009. But the thing is, that's Kobe's team. That always will be Kobe's team. That'll always be Magic's team. That'll always be Kareem's team. Shaq's, he moved a lot, but that Shaq's team, they'll be known for those 4 players. But not Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard would not be able to take control of the team. And you see that now. He's horrible to play with and stuff he's gone through the last couple years. But and he shouldn't have left Houston. Let's get that straight. Let's look at this. If you had, let's go on a little tangent for a second because I love doing that. And it makes the podcast go longer, which I love too. So I don't have to struggle to say random bullshit. But look at this. You get James Harden. I mean, granted, if you kept Howard, you might not have gone in Clint Capella. You might not have gone in Chris Paul. But let's say you had James Harden, you kept Dwight Howard, who can play 3 positions. Clint Capella can play 3 positions. Then you get Chris Paul. You had so many good players. And those teams are good. Houston for a couple years in the early 2010s, they were pretty good, and it wasn't like it was humongous contracts either. I don't believe. I mean, I'd have to look back at this and confirm it later, but it's a big deal and a big issue to have multiple max contract deals and players on the team because they can't work together because they all want to run the team. You look at LeBron. LeBron's a perfect player. Miami was probably the only option I mean, he still probably coached the team, but Eric Spoelstra probably didn't take any shit. You got Cleveland, ran David Blatt out of town, ran Tyronn Lue out of town, ran Luke Walton off the team. Like, he does that because guys have too big of personas, and it's annoying. So whatever. But and I also saw yesterday that the Knicks, the Hawks wanted to get rid of their 8th and ninth pick in this tomorrow's draft for the Knicks' 3rd pick, which doesn't make sense. Okay, the Knicks aren't that stupid. They are stupid, but they just, why would you want to? How that makes sense for them? Like, it doesn't make sense. That would only work in 2K. Let's get that straight. Another thing I saw was Harrison Barnes, who's been nowhere. He played for the Sacramento. He declined his $25.1 million option for free agency, which I guess is okay. I guess. I mean, it doesn't really affect me. Another thing that's happened in free agency is that Brooklyn, I should say, decided not to give Rondé Hollis Jefferson a qualifying offer. So he'll end up obviously going to free agency. But I guess they're trying to free up. I think it was $46 million in cap space. Yeah, that's what it was. 46. They're trying to free up $46 million in cap space so they could possibly retain D'Angelo Russell. I mean, I didn't think Rondé Hollis Jefferson was too bad. I mean, it wasn't phenomenal, but I mean, like, I would think though a team like they didn't do too bad. I mean, they did very well, and I think that team should keep who they have, but develop around them. I mean, Rondé Hollis Jefferson, in the grand scheme of things, at the end of the day, he's not someone who's fabulously amazing. Like he's not someone like Anthony Davis or some other really top player, or even a tier 2 player. This guy's more like a tier 4 player who's gonna do any damage to any other team. So I mean, I guess it's a beneficial move. Actually, no, it really is a beneficial move because it frees up more money, and especially if he has a decent chunk of a contract where he's not doing anything. So they're saving money to possibly keep D'Angelo Russell. I think he just stay there because I know he's looking for more money, but he's not going to get it because he's not, like, the Lakers blew it, but he's not really going to do anything, I think, for another franchise, and I think Brooklyn really is behind him, and I think he should just stay. Because look at, this year they weren't phenomenal, but they didn't really have any on the team besides him, so I think he should stay. D'Angelo Russell. The next thing, Goran Dragic, that's a real bust. I mean, he's been helpful for Miami, but Miami really doesn't have anyone else. But he just signed for a shitty contract, I think, though. It's just, that was way too much for him to sign that. I don't get it, but I guess he's exercising his $19.2 million option next season after a really limited this past season, 2018-2019 season, which I didn't know. He only played like 36 games I saw, and he scored at maybe a little over 11 points. It was below 20, but I can't remember. I know it was 1 and then maybe 9 or 11. I think it was about 11 points per game, something like that. He had a very limited season. But I mean, it's a good fit for him though, because I think that system fits him compared to everywhere else. It was Phoenix and places like that. But the next thing I read, Jonas Valanciunas, like I said earlier, he declined his $17.6 million player option from the Grizzlies, to become a free agent. Like I said, he wanted a long-term deal like Al Horford's looking for another team, but I guess they weren't seeing eye to eye in Memphis on numbers, so I guess he's leaving, which is unfortunate because he's a pretty good player, especially when he played for Toronto before he was traded for Marc Gasol halfway through the season, or this past season halfway through it, I should say. So, I mean, he's going to be good for any other team. He's going to help them a lot, so, unfortunately. And I read Kyrie. Another thing I read, the main thing is that, he moved on from his longtime agent, Jeff Weschler, and joined Rock Nation Sports, but I just read that he's willing to sign for at least one more year with the Celtics if they really want him, so I think, which the fans really do want him. I think for him, though, he wants to, that team dealt with a lot of shit this past season, and I think he's kind of a baby in the sense because when team's losing and not doing too well, he gives up, like a lot of people I know out there, which is unfortunate. I mean, it's good to see that he wants to play at least one more year, but I think that he just should leave. If 1 year makes no difference, because it's not like he's going to get like $50 million a year. It's just, he should leave, and that should be the end of it, But whatever. It's not my choice, it's his, but why would you want to sign for 1 year? Why don't you just sign for 4 years, grow a set, and deal with it, and help the team get better? I don't get it. But another thing I keep reading is, the Rockets, the trouble, between CP3 and James Harden, and you know, Daryl Morey and Tillman Fertitta are saying, oh, there's no bad blood between both of them, and it's all fake stuff. And then you read stuff online, you see the video from this past season early on, and Chris Paul and him are going back and forth, and Chris Paul, tries to move on and forget about it, give him a fist bump, and James Harden smacks out of his hand, continues to go at him, and everyone else is just like kind of watching, but then trying not to watch. Like you see that when friends fight all the time. You're like, oh, I want to watch this. This is going to be good, but then you don't want to. So I mean, I think just Chris could go. I remember reading though that the owner regretted giving him that deal, and I would agree with him on that. I mean, $160 million deal for him. Chris Paul's not worth it, even when he was on the Clippers. So even at the time, he wasn't worth $160 million. Maybe 80 million, but not the amount that he was given by far. So I mean, it's kind of sad and pathetic how the season's gone. But I think even when he was trying to they couldn't even dump him off to the Knicks, which is really sad. But they gotta figure out the deal because they're a good team, and I don't think they should trade anyone besides Chris Paul because I don't want any negative energy, and that is James Harden's team, and after that it would be Clint Capella's team. But I don't know why they want to trade with the Celtics. Clint Capella. Clint Capella is for the Rockets. He is Rockets red and white forever. So let's get that out of the way. Another thing I want to talk about, complete 180, I guess, or 360, you could say, is the Lego Star Wars game that's coming out. New Lego Star Wars, different from the other 3 or 4, however the hell many they have. But this new, it's like this open world one, and they have all the movies, all 9, and they haven't released it yet because the 9th one obviously hasn't come out yet. So that'll be interesting, and obviously they don't want to give anything away, which makes sense. But it's different because they have different cutscenes and different. The characters look different, and it's just different from the other games. I haven't read a lot into it, but it really looks interesting with the videos I've seen about it. So hopefully, it'll be good. Hopefully, it'll be as good as apparently Star Wars Galaxy Edges, where they're having people pay thousands of dollars for Stormtrooper helmets and droids and other Star Wars characters and $400 for a lightsaber. I don't get how you could do that, or $200 for food or whatever it was. It was ridiculous. Like, you're already spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to come to Disney World or Disneyland, wherever it is specifically. So why would you make them spend all this money for that? Like, obviously, it's probably really well made, so I don't get why you would do that. But if it's very well made, as apparently it looks, then it all, makes sense with that. But it's just a lot of money to spend on top of, what am I forgetting? Going to Disney World, yeah. And not a lot of people can afford that. I mean, if you have a lot of money, you go to Disney World, then you can afford it. But it's just, what are you going to do with a Star Wars helmet or a Stormtrooper outfit? It doesn't make sense. Like, they shouldn't be spending that. They just should have a museum. Like, I remember a few years ago, or years ago, I should say, more than a few years ago, probably 10 years ago, I'd say at least, maybe 12, maybe 13. I can't remember specifically, but it was at least 10 years ago. And me and some family friends went to this traveling Star Wars museum, and it was so freaking sick. It was the coolest thing ever because, it was all not like the actual size, but it was like smaller models of, Luke's land speeder and the actual speeders used Endor, I should say, and costumes and life-size versions of characters and lightsabers and guns and stuff. It was the coolest thing ever. And at the end, they would sell like the action figures and the Galaxy Hero figures, and before they changed the look. It was just so cool. I think that's what they should have there, just because it would make it so much better. And I don't know why people would spend thousands of dollars to buy some of this crap there. And I'm sure it's greatly, fantabulously made, I should say, authentically made, a lot of authenticity, I should say. But I don't get why people would spend the money on that. Like, majority of the population that goes there doesn't have a lot of money probably, and I would really only go, like, I would buy probably a shirt or two and a hat, maybe a few other things. But like, I'm really there to go on the rides. Like, I really want to go there so bad though, and my aunt does, and my mother does. So maybe make a big family trip, because I haven't been to Disney World in 11 years, and I went with my mother's side when my parents were still together, and stuff like that when I was 8, and my other sister was 5, yeah, 6 or 5, and then my other sister maybe was 2 or 3, so she doesn't really remember. My other sister, we actually went during her birthday in 2008. She barely remembers it. I remember it fully though, and a lot of memories from that. I'll tell you some of those later in another episode. But I don't get how people do that. It's just like, just like it's just like America's Got Talent. It's another thing I hate nowadays because it's a decent show, and of all these talent type bullshit shows, I like it the most because it's more real, I think, and not necessarily the whole length, but I think last year though in particular it was struggling with this because I mean it was way better than The Voice and all this other shit, but I think with last year's panel and why I like this year's panel, I think last year was just Mel B always looked like she was drunk. And a lot of times Heidi was good, but it was just I couldn't really believe her. I don't know. I'm surprised she left, but I think it was time for her just because she's more busy, so she can put a lot of time into Howie. He fits it. I'm sure he'd want to be on tour more, but whatever. He's great for the show. And Simon, it's his bread and butter. He created this as his baby. So I mean, I'm happy that he's on it. But I think with this panel, it's more real and authentic, and they're not gonna bullshit you. They're gonna be legit with you. I'm happy to see that. But I think though, one thing I hate though is when they say, "Oh yeah, this is why the show was made." Like that some lady on the other day or a few weeks ago, this older lady in her 80s dancing with this guy doing all these tricks and stuff and lifting him up and then lifting the person holding her up and whatnot or him up, whatever it was. And someone was like, "This is why the show was created." I'm like, "What is this?" Like, no, that obviously is not why. I mean, sure, it's a prime example of that where the talent belongs and that type of talent belongs on the show. But I just or like this is the greatest thing ever. Your tone and your vocal pitch and how you were singing the rhythm, it was the best I've ever seen. And I genuinely thought it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like, no, it's not. Like they showed too much fake emotion. Like and a lot of things I also don't like is kind of the rules that go into the shows. Like a lot of these kids who sing like these older songs and they do it well, you have to think that they've been on these other Got Talent shows like Britain's Got Talent or all these other or European versions. Like I remember last year, two Chinese girls or Asian girls, I should say, little ones, probably in elementary school, were on it and they did phenomenally, made it to the finals and whatnot. They didn't, both of them, none, one of them won, but saw videos of them online from like China's Got Talent and stuff like that, and it's like, what the heck? And they were doing other shows there, and it doesn't make sense because like it's not fair. Like someone like myself, no musical ability, I would love to know how to play the drums, guitar, play the piano, but I would love to, but I don't have any forcefulness to want to actually sit down, learn music notes and stuff like that. Plus, it costs a lot of money too to play these instruments and maintain them and keep them. So it's not worth it. I can only hope. But it's so annoying when they make up all this fake bullshit about, oh yeah, you're the greatest thing I've ever heard. I generally really thought it was the best. I love it, and I don't get why like whenever someone presses the golden buzzer or goes up one of the judges, Simon's always up there with them. Like, why? Like, stop. I don't get it. Yeah, I think he tries to take control even though he's already like the creator and the executive president or producer, whatever it is. So I just I like the scheme of it because something like The Voice, I hate that show because it's stupid because they have the thing on the show where they do like those battles where they go against each other and it makes no sense. Look at how they do America's Got Talent where they do one on one or it's one person on there and then the people vote, the judges vote. That's how it goes. American Idol has that. Those two shows have similar like things, so just follow that. Why do you have to have them go against each other? And it's just I don't get it. I don't get why they say this baloney on the show when it's not needed. Another thing I don't get, and this is another big thing. I'm from Rhode Island, South Kingston, Rhode Island, and I have a lot of family that's from Warwick, Rhode Island, and I went to the school. About probably most of my family, except a few cousins, went through South Kingstown because my aunt moved down to Matunic, Rhode Island, and popular place for people to come during the summertime and whatnot and rent, and or just for families in general and other college if kids if they live in Matunic. But Warwick decided to cut all sports, recreational level, I believe, too, and high school sports. I don't think high school that's known nationally as Bishop Hendricken High School. I believe they're not really affected because they don't. I don't know with them. I don't know how they stand, but it's unfortunate because it's so you build a community. That's how you make friends, families, and stuff like that. After school programs, you shouldn't cut that because some kids are less fortunate as others, like myself, who's not by any means first class, but still has the ability to do all the stuff that sometimes we take for granted, and to cut those, it's just I don't get that. It's unfortunate if the kids are in it right now, playing rec soccer, rec baseball, or you know, kids are in high school playing volleyball, tennis, basketball, football, lacrosse, swimming, wrestling, all this stuff. They don't have it anymore next year. It's unfortunate. I think it's going to change. I think not by the fall, but I think if not by the winter, then the spring of next school year. But it's so unfortunate to see that. I don't know why. There's so many other things that could be cut, and I don't get it. I think textbooks should be eliminated just because we don't really use them anymore. Most teachers do. Or paper, they say they give you all these bullshit computers and all this online stuff and testing and whatnot. Get rid of papers, textbooks, and books, and just go online. I mean, kids, granted, get more distracted online, but it's just people don't like lugging around all this stuff. I don't like lugging around all these books. So, I mean, it is what it is. But it was pretty embarrassing and sad to see that, especially someone who has family who lives in Warwick who went through these and luckily had the opportunity to go through sports and school programs and whatnot. So hopefully it changes. Hopefully it won't. It's really embarrassing. I'm very sad and disrespected by the school committee for doing this and the mayor and whatnot. On another note, a funny, really embarrassing and shocking story. There's a restaurant in Narragansett, this town near where I live, in a very short distance, 5-10 minutes. There's a restaurant popular with the college crowd and throughout the 90s and early 2000s and up to today, and they closed recently. And I was like, that's odd. And it started counting, they owed $1.6 million, then $2 million, and then recently, the guy who my family knows, they owed $6 million in bank and money, and they filed for bankruptcy, and they owed 99 different vendors money, and they closed their second floor because it cost $75K to about $100,000 to run the sprinkler system, and so they just used it for storage, the upper section, the second floor. And I was just like, how does that happen? I don't know how you can't even make half of that back with the college crowd or whatnot. It was so interesting, and slowly, it's very fishy. So I don't get it. And sorry if I'm rushing. I wanted to get this done because it's already Thursday, so this is really meant for Wednesday, but whatever, it can be both. I read though the thing I wanted to end on. Before I wanted to reiterate another point, I don't get that though. I don't get how you can go down $6 million in a restaurant, be in debt that much, or even cancel school sports. I don't get it. It's sad and it's pathetic, really. And I can see restaurants, it's easy to do that. Yeah, it very is. But you gotta wonder. Oh shit, it's $1,000. It's a couple $100. Oh, it's $1,000. It's a couple thousand. It's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Couldn't you call for help or fix this? I don't get how you just let it sit and get the $6 million. It's very shocking. I feel bad for the families and whatnot that worked there. But the one thing I want to end up before I say a few other points, I read recently today, as a matter of fact, and there's a few other points I want to talk about. But the Rockets, they said that they're aggressively going after Jimmy Butler, and supposedly it's a quote unquote good move and good fit for both teams. Apparently, and I guess CP3, like I said, CP3 is very hard to trade, so that'll be a problem. But Jimmy Butler, I mean, I think he was a good fit in Chicago, obviously, and I think Philadelphia was a great fit too. So I don't know why you'd want to leave Philadelphia. They made the Eastern semifinals. I don't know why you'd want to leave that team that did so well with you on the team. That was a really good team, with Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Boban Marjanovic, Jimmy Butler. The list could go on and on. I mean, Ben Simmons. It used to be Markelle Fultz, but not anymore. I don't get how I don't know why you'd want to leave. But I mean, see, that's the thing. You talk about CP3 and James Harden going, but what about James Harden and Jimmy Butler? Jimmy Butler is known for his temper. You sign him to a max deal. It doesn't work when two huge guys like this, top 10 players in the league right now, top 20 players in the league right now, going at it with huge egos trying to run the team like it's their own. So, another thing I want to reiterate is that in August, the 9th to the 16th, yeah, like I said earlier, I'm going on a cruise, so this will be put on temporary hold for that week, and then I'll resume it when I get back the following day or the following weekend or whatever, maybe whatever day I get back, whether it's a Thursday or Friday. I think it's a Thursday or Wednesday I get back, or Monday. I think it's a Monday I get back, so that following Tuesday or the next day being a Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever I choose. I might also take videos and stuff and post them, but with that being said, that's really all I want to discuss, I guess. Oh, July 4th. That's another day that probably won't work for this, depending on the time and stuff. I'll be working 4th of July, so with that being said, and here, thank you for all for listening. This has been episode I believe, episode 8 of Shooting the Breeze with the Big Guy. Thank you all. Remember to like and subscribe for more future content on Shooting the Breeze, the Big Guy YouTube channel. And I also want to leave you with, remember to follow social media, being big_guy2022 for Instagram, and on Twitter it's Shooting the Breeze with the Big Guy, but in specific, I should say, it's capital STB_W, capital TBG1, Shooting the Breeze with the Big Guy. Thank you and good night.